Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Fort Lauderdale City Commission this 19th day of April 2022. I want to thank you all for being here. For those of you who are here for the first time, let me explain a little bit how we go about things. We start out our evening with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we take roll call, and then we have some presentations tonight. Presentations usually recognize individuals, organizations, or events, and tonight we have several, so we'll get moving on those. And then we have an opportunity for the public to speak. If there's a person who wants to speak on a consent agenda item, that would be the time to step forward, and we give you 3 minutes in which to speak. I have nobody who's signed up, so that'll be good. So we'll get through that very quickly. So. If I may ask you all to please indulge me and please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas, Commissioner Glassman,
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie, not present. Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Here.
Mayor Trentalis.
Here. So now the City of Fort Lauderdale is going to be hosting our commission meetings in person going forward. If you would like to view the meeting online, you would do it at www.fortlauderdale.gov/city commission meetings. And I'll repeat that. That's www.fortlauderdale.gov/city commission meetings, plural. And to help ensure decorum, we ask that you please abide by the following guidelines. Number one, please refrain from any behavior that is disruptive, distractive, profane, or inhibits the meeting in any way. And two, if you wish to speak on a specific agenda item, please sign up in the City Hall lobby. A member of the city's clerk's office staff will be there to assist you. And what she'll do is she'll swear you in, and she'll write your name down. She'll give me the slip of paper, and I will call upon you to then speak when the item comes up. So, there are no changes to the agenda. So, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes of the
So moved.
previous meeting?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie, Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the minutes from the previous meeting and tonight's agenda have now been approved. Commissioner McKenzie has now joined us. So, the first presentation is my honor to present, and this is in recognizing April 23rd, 2022 as Children's Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale, as well as to recognize some individuals who are contest winners. So I'd like to invite Russell Weaver, who's president of the Fort Lauderdale Sister Cities program, to please join me at the podium.
I know, but that's what he's telling me.
Thank you, Mayor Trentalis. I'd like to thank you and the City Commission, Zoe Sanders, Daphne Sandoval, for their assistance in helping us put the annual If I Were Mayor essay contest together. Since 2013, our sister cities, our Turkish Sister City Committee has been putting on this program, and they're awesome. Children's Day is a holiday that was established by the President of Turkey in 1923, and this event helps commemorate it. And with that, I would like to introduce the chairwoman of the MULA Fort Lauderdale Sister City Committee, Zeta Turan.
Thank you, Russell. We would like to thank our mayor and the City Commission for putting on the annual If I Were Mayor contest. Thank you for the participating schools, principals, teachers, students, and their families. And also thanks to Turkish Consul General Feyza Barutçualtu, and thanks to FTAA President Canan Özaktay, and our sponsoring family, Dr. and Dr. Çelik. Thank you so much to Russell from Greater Fort Lauderdale Sister Cities International for all his supports. And I would like to welcome Consul General Feyza Barutçu for a few words.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Feyza Borcualtu. I'm the new Turkish Consul General in Miami, and this is my first time in this commission meeting. Sorry, I'm very, very, extremely happy to be here. Mayor Tradalis and the city of Fort Lauderdale, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for supporting the Turkish community here. I would like to thank the Greater Fort Lauderdale Sister Cities International for organizing this event, and the Florida Turkish American Association, and Doctors Gülşen and Ziya Çelik for supporting this event. Needless to say, this is a very important day in the history of the Republic of Turkey, and we are so very happy to be able to celebrate today with all of you here today. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Mayor.
We have for school participated with the fifth graders. It was really hard to pick one from each school, so I would like to announce winner of each school. Eleanor Montecalvo, Florinada. Deshaun Riley, Norcrest. Nicholas Salvador, Tradewinds. And Jamie James, Bayviews Elementary. Welcome to the stage.
Come on up here. Don't be shy. So I hear you wrote a few words to kind of instruct me what it's like to be mayor, right? Congratulations. And I have a congratulatory certificate to give you. Sorry. Absolutely.
So they were all great ideas, but our tradition, we have to choose the all-over winner, and I'm really happy to announce Eleanor Montecalvo, they are all-over winner.
Wonderful. So Eleanor, you're from Florinat Elementary? Very nice. I have this congratulatory certificate for you. Here you go. Congratulations. I also have a congratulatory certificate for Deshaun Riley. Deshaun? Congratulations. You brought your book bag with you? Very nice. And I also have a congratulatory certificate for Nicholas Salvador. Congratulations. And I also have a certificate for Jamie James. Now, what I'd like you to do is take it out of your sack and hold it open. Flip it around, and we're going to take a picture, all right? Flip it open like that. Like that. Got it? Okay. Come a little closer.
Can you just fold it back, guys? Just fold this back like here.
Hold it back.
Yes. There you go.
Hold it up proud.
And then invite the principal. Okay. Let me get one too. Okay. Can we invite our principals and teachers too?
I'm sorry.
Our principals and teachers.
Please come on up. Representatives from all the schools? Come on up, sure. Also, the folks from the Turkish
Yes, yes,
American
I know.
Federation, come on up.
I wish I had the yellow ball, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, sneak in here. Anybody else want their picture? Okay, smile, everybody. Got it? Great. So now it's my turn. I have a proclamation to present to you. I want to give it, I guess I'll be giving it to our new Consul General. Thank you for being here today, and very nice to meet you. So, from the office of the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale, this proclamation in recognition of Children's Day, April 23rd, 2022. Whereas in 1921, Turkey proclaimed April 23rd as Children's Day, declaring that power rests with the people and the future belongs to the children. And whereas every year since 1921, the children in Turkey celebrate Children's Day as a national holiday with various festivities and programs. Inspired by the Turkish holiday, UNESCO declared April 23, 1979 as the International Year of the Child, and UNICEF decided to recognize this important day as the International Children's Day, a day of worldwide fraternity and understanding between children. Observing April 23rd as Children's Day will promote the welfare of children not only in the city of Fort Lauderdale, but also in the world as a day of activity devoted just for them. I thought every day was Children's Day, but that's okay. Whereas Americans of Turkish descent in the city of Fort Lauderdale have played a significant role in the educational, cultural, economic, and civic development of our community. Finally, we recognize the many individuals of Turkish descent who have chosen our community as their home and who share their rich heritage with us. Now, therefore, we, as the City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale, do hereby proclaim April 23rd, 2022 as Children's Day in the City of Fort Lauderdale and do encourage our neighbors to join the Turks and Turkish Americans as they celebrate Children's Day, dated today and April of 2022, signed by myself, Mayor Dean Trantalis. Congratulations. And we have a loving cup to give to each of the winners. Here you go. Wow. Display it with pride, and thank you for entering the contest. And we appreciate all the work that you do, and your schools are represented well by each of you. So thank you all. Thank you, Russell. And we appreciate the principals, everybody who came here today. And let's have a wonderful rest of the year. Thank you, everybody. Absolutely. You're very welcome.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, folks. I now would like to recognize Commissioner Glassman to present a proclamation regarding Arbor Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Is Mark Williams here for our urban forester?
Yes, he is.
Ah,
Mayor.
there he is.
Right here.
Okay, Commissioner Glassman.
Thank you. Mark is joining me at the podium. He is our urban forester for the city. And
Make sure
I
your
am-
microphone is on.
I'm sorry. Yes, Mark is our urban forester for the city, and I am presenting this proclamation from the office of the mayor, city of Fort Lauderdale, in recognition of Arbor Day, April 29th, 2022. Whereas Arbor Day is symbolic of the early conservation movement and has been observed in the United States in various ways for over 140 years. And whereas trees are responsible for creating a more sustainable environment by producing oxygen, reducing stormwater, and cooling urban areas. And whereas trees provide critical habitat for local and migrating wildlife, and the city of Fort Lauderdale has been recognized as a certified community wildlife habitat by the National Wildlife Federation. And whereas enhancement of the beauty of the city's landscape by the planting of trees furnishes not only an economic value, but also a human value that is beneficial to all. And whereas in its strategic plan, the city has identified growth and enhancement of the urban forest as one of its strategic objectives. In the Advanced Fort Lauderdale Comprehensive Plan, the city set a goal of increasing its tree canopy to 33% by 2040. And whereas in 2021, the city continued to improve its tree canopy through efforts including the distribution and planting of over 1,120 trees over the calendar year. And whereas for its efforts in 2021, the city of Fort Lauderdale has been recognized as a Tree City, USA, by the National Arbor Day Foundation for the 43rd year due to its long-standing active urban forestry program. And whereas the city of Fort Lauderdale concurs with the governor of the state of Florida that Arbor Day should be commemorated by the planting of trees, and the city will strive to further enhance and expand Fort Lauderdale's tree canopy in 2022. And now, therefore, we, as city commissioners of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2022 as Arbor Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale in recognition of the importance of trees in our community, dated this the 19th day of April, 2022, and signed by our mayor, the Honorable Dean J. Trentalis. Mark, say a few words.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. It's a pleasure, honor, and privilege to be here tonight. A couple of fun things about this year. This is actually the 150th year anniversary for Arbor Day nationwide. So way back in 1872, a group of neighbors in Nebraska saw trees as being a truly valuable resource and decided to do something about it. And here we are 150 years later in Fort Lauderdale, 43 consecutive years of Tree City USA. And this year is also our first year being certified as a Tree City of the World. It's a brand new program, so I'm honored to take part in that. And I have some lofty goals for improving and enhancing our canopy moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay. What's early, like now? Can we do that?
I think it's a first reading.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do.
Do the next proclamation now. It's
I gotta do two more.
yeah. Go ahead with that.
Yep. Okay, now I would like to invite Junia Robinson and Christopher Leonard from our Neighbor Support Division, who will recognize the 2022 Neighbor Support Night sponsors. Hello, folks.
Thanks, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and Commission. My name is Jania Robinson, Neighbor Support, and I'm with Chris Leonard, also Neighbor Support. Neighbor Support Night was held on Thursday, February 10th in the City Hall parking garage. We would like to thank everyone who attended this year's event. Neighbor Support Night is an opportunity where staff showcase the wide range of services available to our diverse community in the city of Fort Lauderdale every day. The success of Neighbor Support Night could not be possible without the continued partnerships of our local sponsors. Some sponsors donated prizes towards raffles, while others provided sample bites from their delicious menu. Before I recognize our sponsors, I would also like to acknowledge our staff and volunteers who participated to make this day possible. First of all, the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Association, Fort Lauderdale City staff, our Fort Lauderdale Print Shop, Public Works Department for providing food, Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport for raffle prizes and gift basket, Government and Economic Development for a raffle prize. We thank you all. I would like to take this opportunity now to acknowledge each sponsor who contributed for this year's event. As I call your name, if you could please join me at the podium and remain standing to accept your certificate of appreciation. Pelican Grand Beach Resort, TJ Pierre, General Manager.
That was my
Fort Lauderdale Women's Club, Joanne Smith, President, and Carol Sorato. Unable to attend this tonight is Dentist of Fort Lauderdale, Museum of Discovery and Science. And next, Broward Center for Performing Arts, Gustavo Padrino, Community Engagement Manager. Unable to attend tonight, Padrino's Cuban Cuisine. Nothing Bundt Cakes, Fort Lauderdale, Marie Laguerre. Temple Street Eatery, Diego Inc. Unable to attend tonight, Home Depot. Next is Ichimura and a restaurant, and we have Jean, Linda, Elsie, and Wei Lee. You can join us at the podium. And last but not least, Flagler Cafe, Patrick and Dan Hennessy. I'd like to thank all of you for your sponsorship towards making Fort Lauderdale's Neighbor Support Night 2022 a big success.
Well, they got to get a little closer. No, I can't get in the picture. No, hey, okay.
He's not camera shy.
Thank you, everybody. Very generous of you.
Mayor, we have one more acknowledgement for Neighbor Support Night, and Chris Leonard is going to award the this year's Celebrating the Arts for the Neighbor Choice Award, the department that won.
All right, thank you, everyone. With celebrating the arts as our theme, the divisions really came out and celebrated in a way of education to put on art opportunities. And we really want to congratulate the Department of Development Services for winning our Neighbor Choice Award.
Oh, great. Congratulations. I know you hesitated on that name because they changed their name.
Yes, there was a name change. So we have Development Service Department.
And this is their third year in a row for winning.
Wow, 3 years in a row. Wow, no wonder we can't get any permits out the door. You guys have worked so. My God, it's like
They're
working on these booths and
It was rigged.
God.
It was rigged.
Oh my God.
I think it was the lighting of the booth that really clinched it. Wasn't that what it was?
Great. Thank you. Thank you, folks.
I'm telling you. Bravo. Bravo. Bravo.
That one. I was trying to figure out why is this still working after 5. No one knows. It's after 5, man.
Okay, not on the agenda, but certainly something that I want everybody to help me in recognizing this special presentation. We're going to divert from the agenda for just a moment, and I'd like to welcome Peter Kasperi, who's Director of Employee Outreach for the state of Florida, who's here with us tonight. He's also representing the Department of Defense. He's here to recognize an individual in this room tonight. So with that in mind, I'd like to call Mr. Kasperi and Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Deputy Chief John San Angelo to the podium.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, and
He's wore his dress whites tonight.
It's like Ben.
we ordered him. You know, we work for the
Oh,
Department
okay.
of Defense, so we have certain privileges. And
Well, you have a special presentation tonight, so we're all excited. What is this about?
exactly. Well, with what we do in serving our guardsmen and reservists, we also honor and respect the employers that employ them. And tonight is a very special night when we would like to honor and say thank you to the Fort Lauderdale Fire Department and the people that run it. And I've got the chief over here, but I think it'd be more practical. Can we go to the microphone in the center?
Yep.
Chief San Angelo, don't yell at you. We won't. Right there, sir. This is great. You serve dual roles. Actually, you serve 3 roles. You have a family. You have your regular job here with the fire department. I understand you're assistant chief or something, or a chief here? Deputy chief. And also you serve our country. And it's very difficult to juggle all 3, but you do it. And you're very successful in doing that because you have a great person that you work with. And that is Chief Rhoda Mae Kerr, Fire Chief. Ma'am, would you step forward, please? We are actually here to celebrate you and honor you. And it was really amazing. We were top secret, hiding in the back and wondering where you went to dinner tonight, but we made it in time. And John over here, he wrote up a narrative about you. And I would like to read that, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind.
Please go ahead.
And it reads as follows. I left my glasses there. That's okay. I can read it. Fire Chief Kerr has been in command of 3 fire departments throughout her 40-plus years in the fire service. She understands the sacrifice we as service members and as firefighters face on a daily basis. She has supported the reservists who have volunteered to serve our country. The Fort Lauderdale Fire Department has approximately 4 active reservists, 2 of which are deployed today. Additionally, she sees the strain it puts on the fire department because you have to backfill when your reservists go on deployment. Additionally, she understands these service members are serving a greater good for our freedom. Lastly, she has looked past my own sacrifice to serve and has offered me a promotion within the fire department. Fire Chief Kerr truly is an example of a supportive supervisor who deserves the Patriot Award.
Thank you.
If you will honor Chief Kerr just for a moment and remain standing. And this is from the Office of the Secretary of Defense. John, would you read the award and make the presentation?
Yes. Office of the Secretary of Defense, Employer Support of the Guard and the Reserve recognizes Rhoda Mae Kerr, Fire Chief, Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Department as a patriotic employer for contributing to national security and protecting liberty and freedom by supporting employee participation in America's National Guard and Reserve.
Would you present the award, please?
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Congratulations. John, would you like to say a few words personally to the chief? You might get a raise.
Mr. Mayor? I don't think we can afford it.
No, yeah.
I just want to say that, Chief Kerr gave me the opportunity. She looked past my sacrifice to serve, and she was very supportive. Her unwavering devotion to me to say, I want you to fill this role. And she, out of my 30 years with the city, she has been the most supportive fire chief that we've had to support our guard and reservists. And this was my way of showing my appreciation. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Really, what a nice surprise, and I'm humbled and I'm honored, and I always take special pride in knowing that I have firefighters that really wear two uniforms, and what an honor it is to have people that not only serve our community but serve our country, and I'm always grateful for the freedoms that they help preserve. So my thanks to you.
Thank you. Now, we're not through with you yet. Rebecca, you have a special presentation?
Yes, I do. I have a very special pin to present to you. And if you don't mind, I would like to pin it on your lapel. No, you're fine. I can do it right on your, okay.
Can we invite you to come down for
Sure.
a photo op? Sure. And commissioners, if you would like to join us.
Thank you. And I have to say, this is my second department. We got the same award that the department did when I worked in Austin as the fire chief.
Is that right? Yeah. Okay. If you want to, oops. There he is.
Look up on you, baby.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mayor, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Peter. This is one of those rare opportunities in which we get to recognize people of such high caliber that we have working with our community and with our city. And as mayor, I'm extremely proud to be able to work with Chief Kerr. She's not only a great chief, she's a great person, and she loves to dance. And and so I just want to say, on behalf of the city of Fort Lauderdale, thank you all. Thank you for all the service that you provide to our city, all the many years you've been doing that. And don't you think you're going away too soon for us? So we really love you, and we thank you for all that you do. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, man.
Okay, no more surprises. Thank you all for your patience and your participation in these presentations. It's very important, a very important part of our meeting as well as our community. So now we move on to the consent agenda. At this point, I would ask any member of the commission if they have any item on the consent agenda list that they would like to pull that we would discuss separately and vote on separately. Commissioner Moritas, do you have any consent agenda items?
No, thank you.
Commissioner McKenzie?
No, Mayor.
None. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. CM2.
CM2?
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
And Vice Mayor?
No, Mayor.
Okay. So except for CM2, no one has signed up to speak on any consent agenda items. So Other than CM2, do I hear a motion to approve all the consent agenda items?
Moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas? Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and all the consent agenda items except CM2 have now been approved. If you're here on any of these items, you may leave or you may continue to stay and participate in the meeting. CM2, motion approving an event agreement and related road closures for the 2022 Fort Lauderdale Fitness and Exotic Car Showcase event. Commissioner Glassman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We had a long discussion last night at my pre-agenda meeting, and I want to relay some of the topics and some of the concerns that were brought up. And it's not the first time that we've had these discussions at these meetings, nor me bringing this up to the commission and to city management. But I'll start off by saying, first of all, everyone really does appreciate and love the events on the Barrier Island. But we think that we can do a better job in terms of both promoting these on the calendar of events and also monitoring these and seeing the traffic patterns and helping people get on and off the Barrier Island. I'll give you a few examples. If you look at the backup for the May event calendar, you see different events listed for this particular item, CM2, as you would see for M1 later in the evening. And if you look at that May calendar, they should be the same, but they're not. There are events missing, and it's just not in sync. So we have to make sure that the residents are able to go to one place and see something that is in sync and something that basically is comprehensive so that people are aware. With regards to the traffic patterns,
These are all downtown, right? These aren't on the Barrier Island.
these are Barrier Island.
Well, one says.
Well, no, not.
It says Fat Village.
Right. I'm
Barrier Island.
No, it's not. I'm not specifically talking about these events. I'm just using this as an example for the fact that when you look at the May calendar of events for this particular item, I'm fine with these items, but I just wanted to let you know, if you look at the May calendar for these items, it's different than if you look at the May calendar for the M1 agenda item. So I just pulled this to have that conversation.
Okay.
Also, if you look at some of the things that happened with Tortuga, and by the way, it was obviously a very successful event on the Barrier Island, but there were different traffic patterns on different days. When people could go north, when they couldn't, coming over the bridge. It was not the same every single day, and that's confusing to people. And I think that it's really important that we just coordinate more with those traffic patterns, with the fact that also maybe we can even utilize the water taxi in a better location. For instance, for Tortuga, the water taxi was a bit far away, and it maybe could have been closer, maybe like at Bahia Mar, up a little bit south, so that people could have made that trip a little bit shorter. Those kinds of synchronizations. And also, I think it might be important for us to monitor exactly what is happening at all of these really large events. I don't know if Transportation and Mobility could have folks monitor or someone else, just to see the traffic patterns on and off of the Barrier Island, because these are highly successful events, but yet there is a sense that people don't know how to maneuver. They don't know how to come and go on the Barrier Island. There's an event later we'll talk about, but there's just a feeling that people feel a bit trapped. They can't get out of where they live. They can't, for instance, when we do events near the Las Olas Bridge, and we close Las Olas Circle, which is coming up in other events, there's a sense of like, okay, but how are people going to get to the garage? How are people going to maneuver if both sides of Las Olas Circle are closed? So I just think that we need to step it up a little bit in terms of the communication with the neighborhoods and communication from the city to them. Maybe have a little bit more meeting time, face-to-face time, but before it just gets to the point where people are just like so totally confused. So I'm just recommending that. I'm ready to move the motion, but I just wanted to pull it to have that discussion and say that I think that we just need to do better so that people don't feel so lost and just not really knowing what's going to be open and what's going to be closed. That's all.
Okay. Any further discussion on CM2? If there are none, you move the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Chair Trentalis?
Yes, and the item's approved. Commissioner, the Vice Mayor, Sorensen has indicated he needs to leave early tonight. So I'm going to, if there's no objection by the commission, I would like to move the item of PH3, the ordinance regarding the geographical boundaries. If we can move that up right now so he can be here to discuss it and vote on it. Is there any objection to that? There's one person who signed up to speak. I don't know if she's here. Dr. Beasley Pittman, are you here? Oh, there you are. Okay. So we're gonna bring that up right now. So I'm glad you're here. Okay. So who wants to introduce the first reading of the ordinance, and what is the ordinance going to be?
So we got to introduce it with the
Yes, introduce the ordinance with the map that we're choosing tonight.
I think they're right here.
So, Mayor, the FAU staff is here, and I believe they're working on some numbers or computations that you were requesting in the conference.
Right, but you said you wouldn't have them completed tonight. I'm sorry? You do?
Please come up.
Why don't you come up to the podium?
That was fast. Good work.
Good evening, Mike Stam with Florida Atlantic University. So, Mayor, Commissioners, we heard some of the direction that we got. Some of the ideas work. Some of the ideas are a little bit more, they provide us a little bit of discomfort in terms of what the map could look like in terms of geographic compactness and, you know, the word we always try to stay away from in terms of gerrymandering because of the appendage. How do you connect to Sailboat Bend? I'll start off with the Lake Ridge area has about 477 people. So the direction that I think we heard was alternative 6, possibly moving the lake, combining the Lake Ridge community, putting it back together. Just so it's clear.
I'm sorry, when you say 446, you just mean
477.
the east, you just mean the east part of Federal Highway,
We're talking just east of
not the whole Lake Ridge, right?
not the whole way.
Okay. I just want to make sure everyone understood that.
Yeah, but I must be clear though, the boundary of the blocks that are in that area extend further north than the condominiums. They go up to there's an auto dealership there. It goes all the way up to the next neighborhood.
Well,
So it kind of looks
14th Court, I believe.
just south of 14th Court. There's actually some houses on the
Just
side.
south of the 14th Court.
Sorry.
Right, south of Northeast 14th Court.
Yeah, so
and
it's
east
basically
of Federal.
correct, and that's 477 people. So to accommodate that change, the numbers will still work. We can make that change. If that change is done in concert with other requests, specifically the City View apartments and the other apartments around the Sistrunk area, the numbers get very, very close to the end threshold. They are literally at the end. They're at 9.91%, and the map is, it's hanging on a thread, for the lack of a better term. It's very tight. Our teammate he's in his office drawing these maps up on the fly, trying to look for scenarios to accommodate the commission.
Well, when you say add those to where?
Well, so that would come off of, so District 3 would grow based on the other comment that we heard, adding the City View, which is currently in District 2 in option 6, adding that to District 3. So that means District 3 would grow, District 2 would shrink even with the change. The numbers work, but like I said, they're at the top end of the threshold to make those two moves. Again, that was the moves that we thought we heard. And again, if I'm
Okay,
correct.
so if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that let's look at it in two lenses. One, from a population standpoint, number of people, those two moves, those adjustments can be okay.
Correct.
The second, I think, evaluation is the kind of connectedness or the
Contiguity and compactness.
continuity. So is continuity sufficient with these two adjustments?
Look, the reality is Sailboat Bend, the way it is configured today, looks like an anomaly. you know, if you notice in most of the options
Right.
we make, we either have Sailboat Bend in District 2, or it's in District 4, but when it's in District 4, the beach area goes into District 2. So we flip-flop those two items in almost every option, if you can see, because, again, for compactness.
All right, I think we're talking in circles here. Let's just pick them. Let's start with a map, okay? And I think there was a consensus to at least use as a working map, map number 6, okay? So why don't we pull that up?
We have it up on the screen. Well, I can bring it up. The two changes we heard, we drew on a map here, and we looked at the population figures. I can show the map.
Could you do that then?
Yeah, if this could be.
And just to be clear, is the kind of southern adjustment, is it 4 Street or 2 Street?
With this configuration, it's about 1,400 people plus or minus 1,486, and we do second.
2 Street.
Correct.
Okay. 2 Street.
Can we pull?
Got
Are
it.
we pulling up the map?
Just asking him. I got it right here on the overhead.
Mayor, while they're trying to pull that up, during the break, I was able to take a look at, get a better configuration of where the changes would be made with District 3. I'm not as concerned about, I don't think it's necessarily hanging by a thread. I mean, the neighborhood is already kind of an outlier there as it is in
What neighborhood?
map 6. Sailboat Bend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's already sort of separated. It's got that little formation already. So the change being made there wouldn't necessarily be hanging by a thread. I think there's sufficient connection there, so I'm not as concerned about that. I can't speak to the numbers, though, that I have to rely on the consultants on. But having looked at it during the break, there's much more connectivity there than I envisioned originally.
So do you have it on the screen?
He's still trying to get it. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, so you're showing that's in the black area, the area that's surrounded in black. That's the area just east of Federal Highway, correct?
So there's two areas on the map. So there's an area east of Federal Highway. That's the Lake Ridge area. That's on the top of the map up here.
Right. And you're saying you can include that in District 2.
That adds 477 people to District 2.
Okay. And then to the left is another section which we talked about earlier, which is I think the Progresso district area. Am I mistaken?
It is a portion of the Progresso area, specifically the City View apartments, and then there's another apartment complex just north that butt the tracks. A lot of folks refer to more of a historic area.
Regal Trace.
Regal Trace, excuse me. Yes,
It's the neighborhood, right? So
that change adds 1,486 people. So we add 477 to 2.
But if we just took away Regal Trace and not City View,
Well, you're not adding it to 2. You're just adding it to 2. You're adding 477 to 3.
No,
477 goes to 2.
477 goes to 2.
That's saying,
But-
77 is the Federal
Lake
High.
Ridge.
Is Lake Ridge.
Put it
Oh,
Lake
that's the
Ridge.
Lake Ridge. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Putting it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And then the other portion, the green area, how many
1486, Mayor.
That could-
1486?
is that City View and Regal Trace?
It is.
1486?
Correct.
Well, you know what the numbers show on that.
It's going to push the numbers right to the end of the threshold. It's 1,000.
That-
It makes it just under 10%.
Well, that
not
makes
0.9.
that makes District 2 44,000, about 800, about 45,000, and it makes District 3 about over 48,000.
We've got the numbers on my phone. I apologize. I'm
Okay,
not-
thank you.
Yeah, why are you advocating such a disparity, and why are you doing that?
Well, that's to accommodate
That's what we asked.
Mackenzie's change.
Yeah, but I mean, it really throws out of whack the equality between districts in terms of population.
Mayor, if I may, that seemed to be the direction that we received to look
Well,
at
it
these
was a
two areas.
conversation. It was a conversation.
Oh, I apologize if we took it further than that.
Okay, all right. No, but we told you to come up with 3 different maps, so it wasn't like one map really. But we understand
so-
where you're going. Now, is this the only map that you were able to come up with?
So this basically puts the spread, like I said, at 9.91, which is the top end of the threshold if we were to make these two changes specifically.
Well, we could reduce that. We could reduce that disparity if we brought it above Fourth Street. Then, if it's if
Pull
we
out Regal City View.
if we made the boundary at Fourth Street instead of Second Street, we could reduce that disparity by several hundred.
Yeah, Mayor, as a general practice, we really try to avoid these appendages, and I'm using that as a very loose term. So when you start to move that boundary, again, you're grabbing less area. Obviously, we don't take in City View, we take in the next one, but then it's going to look like it's not going to feel as compact. We try really hard to follow the major roadways. We try not to zigzag as much as we can. We try to use those major boundaries.
It happens. So, okay. All right. So if we were to reduce the size of that accretion so that it's from Fourth Street north, I'm just trying to, this 10% boundary really concerns me. Someone could sue us and say, that we did not follow the guidelines of the Voting Rights Act, and I'm just very concerned about there being, a minor appendage that's, Sailboat Bend. I was part of that decision back several years ago when we made the changes, and Sailboat Bend was lobbed on to District 2 because District 2 needed population. So
there could be another compromise that's made in that area.
And what is
in lieu
that?
of picking up the apartment complexes, the City View, we could utilize 6th. So moving the boundary eastward to 6th, picking up some of the Progresso area, coming up to City View, and then going north all the way to Sunrise to square it off a little bit.
You're continuing to split Progresso, right?
Progresso, if you touch any of that area, you're splitting Progresso.
I understand. That's why I object to this. I object to this. That was our charge from the Council of Fort Lauderdale Civic Associations, and every single neighborhood has said, do not split neighborhoods. So I object to this discussion.
We'll make a recommendation. We need to get moving on this. So
And I also have, if you want me to share, I have received emails and text messages from the president of Progresso Village wanting to stay in District 2 and not be split off. I just received an email. I don't know if you all got it. I just got an email from Milton Jones Development Corporation. Dear Mayor Trentalis, maybe you all got it. Dear Mayor Trentalis, Commissioner Sorensen, Commissioner Moritas, Commissioner Glassman, and Commissioner McKenzie, we own through affiliated companies the Regal Trace Apartments, which is located at 540 Northwest 4th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, 33311, and Shops on Arts Avenue, which is located at 540 Northwest 7th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Both of these properties are located in the Progresso Village Civic Association. We desire that Regal Trace Apartments remain in District 2 and the Shops on Arts Avenue be moved to District 2, consistent with Option 6 in Amendment 2 to the consultant report. Additional redistricting alternatives for the City of Fort Lauderdale dated April 15th, 2022. This will allow the properties to be in one district and consistent with being in only one neighborhood association. Sincerely, Milton Jones, President, Milton Jones Development Corporation. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, I don't mean to interject, but we can't use those types of things as justification for the maps.
No, I don't know if we're using them as
can't.
justifications. I think he's providing them as community input in the decision-making process.
But that's part of the rabbit hole we're in, is between the civic associations and requests from specific citizens. We can't be on the record drawing the maps based on that, because that is going to get us in trouble.
Well, the original map, okay, well, look, we have 2 people who signed up to speak. Let's allow them to speak, if we don't mind right now. Maybe that'll give us some direction. Start with Dr. Pamela Beasley Pittman, followed by Leanne Barber. If you could just step aside, sir, for just a second so that...
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you for this time. Good evening, everyone. Oh, I know you all are exhausted. This is just breathtaking. I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Okay. All right. I came up to say again in regards to District 3, specifically historic Dorsey Riverbend, because the areas that are being discussed completely and wholeheartedly affects our history, our area, and the community is not pleased in the direction that's been going in these discussions about the new districting maps. Someone shared with me how long this fight has been going on. Basically, for 35 plus years, we've been fighting very hard to build a community that has a commercial district along the 7th Avenue. And we've been really in this fight. We've been doing this. We have great opportunities for businesses, hotels, new apartments that are coming to the area. And now, we sat at the table with these individuals and put our input in, and now you're coming back and saying you're going to take that away from us. Our community wants to profit and look just like the whole city of Fort Lauderdale. We don't want to be excluded, and this is the direction we feel that it's going in. So my question to the commission is, when do Dorsey Riverbend District 3 get an opportunity to truly be at the table and truly have an opportunity to grow with the city? We don't see that. We're still waiting for opportunities on 6th Trunk for development. Everything with the CRA has gone up on the east side of town, and part of that initially was part of District 3, and that changed with district maps at one point. I can't tell you what year, but I do know that that occurred. So my question is, how do we fix this where we, District 3, that is a part of the city, that loves the city, and wants to be a part of the growth of the city? And with this change, we don't feel that we have that opportunity. So if you would please consider that, pick a map that includes us and does not exclude us. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
May I just ask what change?
Yes.
What change are we referring to? I'm sorry. What change are you referring to?
I'm referring to the change, first of all, with, it says where they're gonna take from District 3 to give to District 2. It's that area on 7th Avenue, the Avenue of the Arts that we have input on.
Are you looking at map 6?
I am looking at map 6.
Okay, so you told me that little 34 people?
That's part of my conversation, yes.
Okay.
But that area has been so important to us. We're working with developers to bring that area up, to make it look like the other part of the city. And now to have that conversation go to District 2 where we won't have a part in that, we don't feel that that's right.
Well, if it does happen, I can guarantee you that you will have a part in it. So
No disrespect,
I will.
Commissioner. I've
I
heard
understand.
guarantees before.
No, I understand.
Okay, so if that can be considered.
I think that was done by FAU because they heard from the commission that we did not want to separate neighborhood associations and neighborhoods. So that was the only little sliver of Progresso Village Civic Association that was not in that map. So that they moved that in that map so that you could honestly say that no neighborhoods were split. That's why I think that little sliver was put back into District 2, because just to be with the rest of Progresso Village. That's my take on it.
Okay, but also taking under consideration of that area, that 7th Avenue, 6th Trunk, 7th Avenue to Broward, everything on the west side is definitely District 3. And we've been working very hard, and now to see that map, those lines move to take 7th Avenue away from the District 3, it's not fair. And we don't
Understood.
agree with it.
I understand.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you. Leanne Barber?
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I just want to echo
And
what
I apologize, by the way, when we didn't allow for speaking last time. But anyway, I'm glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess I want to reiterate with what Dr. Pittman is saying in terms of making people making every neighborhood in our city the best it can possibly be, and that we have a lot of disparity between neighborhoods today. And I think that the redistricting could offer an opportunity to redress some of the disparity. I am not an expert in how we would make that happen, but I just think that it would be worthwhile to really kind of do that analysis and to say, given where the lines are, does it improve the neighborhood's chance of being more successful or not? So I will leave it at that because, like I said, I'm not an expert in these matters. I have done a lot of reading on different ways of redistricting, but I think it should have been a consideration, and it's probably too late now. But maybe in the next 10 years we can use that as a consideration for where to draw the lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this matter? Okay. So, folks, let's make a decision now. And Commissioner Glassman, Vice Mayor, Commissioner McKenzie, Commissioner Moritas, is there a map that you'd like to propose?
So Commissioner McKenzie, so it sounds like Commissioner Glassman is not comfortable with that change. How are you feeling, Commissioner McKenzie? What's your
Which change are you talking?
the southern change on for Regal Trace and
Be specific. I'm not.
I just said Regal Trace and
Regal Trace. Okay.
yeah.
And City View.
And City View. Sorry, those two.
So when I made my comments earlier, we agreed that no one from Progresso participates with Regal Trace. So obviously the connecting or the connector is City View, which I argued to keep all of that in up to 2nd Street. City View to me seems to be the dangling participle or the dangling whatever. Take that population out of the map and put the rest back in.
So keep it in 2.
Keep City View in 2.
Keep City View in 2.
That seems to be the real argument of coming across that street.
Okay.
So if we do that, it'll decrease the numbers, and the consultant already said we're right at the end of the threshold of 9.91, so we do meet the criteria. Alan said it's not the sliver he thought it was earlier.
Right.
To make Sailboat Bend hold or keep it the way you advocated for it years ago, and now Commissioner Glass was still advocating for it. And we come to a compromise. We move forward. Milton Jones doesn't live in those apartments. Milton Jones wasn't born in Fort Lauderdale. Milton Jones is from Dania. Milton Jones made a bunch of money off of this incentivized, as you often say, subsidized project with empty bays, and now wants to further insult District 3 with a email, which I don't know if he sent it because I'm not reading emails right now, last minute emails, but it would dishearten me for someone like him who looks like me to be that selfish and say that this evening. And even you all have said that you want to see something more done there, but he's controlled that the whole time, and he's done nothing, absolutely nothing. We were promised a grocery store. The only grocery store they had there is no longer there. So when Miss Pamela Beasley Pittman spoke tonight about the sliver, we had that when we woke up this morning. We had that for my 8 years. We had that for most of your years. If you go back 10 years before that, we had all of this little Progresso area. And as things mature and progress and development comes, you're going to have some discomforts. In all of the maps that we chose, 9 of them, I told you I could live with all of them. Today, 6 and 7 were just a little too much for me to bear. And I asked for a little sliver of history to be pushed back into the district, and it created such a ruckus, both for me and some of the folks from up here, because we're all trying to get what we want. And I think everybody got what they wanted except District 3. And then, so I think if you move it take City View
Commissioner,
and
could I make a quick suggestion while you were discussing it? Can I get this queued up? I have a map on my phone I can show. I think it'll do what I heard. Moving the boundary over to 6th, moving it north to Sunrise. It does split Progresso. It keeps City View and the other apartment complex in District 2. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer.
All right, what are you doing here? What is this?
So what it does, if you see the area of green,
Can we focus that a little?
It moves the District 3 boundary
Right.
to the east to 6th. And
To
then
6th Avenue?
6, right before City View, and then moves north to Sunrise. And what this does for the numbers is it puts the spread right around 5%, because it doesn't add the density of the apartment complexes to the equation. And again, I'm listening to what I heard Ms. Pittman say about 7th.
I don't think that's what she was expressing.
I apologize.
She was going from 6th Street back south to Broward Boulevard, encompassing the Avenue of the Arts.
This encompasses that.
I know it does, but that gives you the sliver. But then when you go back historically, you look at what we tore down to start this whole CRA and this development engine. It was that piece to the FEC railroad track. So if City View doesn't want to be a part of it like they once were, take their numbers out, and we'll be back down. We don't have to go and further disrupt Progresso. Am I correct, Steve?
Well,
to Sunrise, because I'm sure that's not going to be.
I'm trying to understand, does does your map option 6 see that little sliver you did in option 6?
One they took out, that piece?
Yeah, that's
the shopping plaza.
Is that 7th Avenue?
7th Avenue to 6th Avenue, to Broward to
6th Street.
6th Street.
Right. So
the shopping plaza, which is the post office, which is the daycare center, which is the service station, and the proposed IELs.
So this just allows District 3 to have both sides of 7th Avenue there, right?
That's all that allows.
That's all that allows. Does that, and where does Progresso end going west?
Progresso's boundary.
Right.
Is 7th
Are you
Avenue?
looking at option 6 map?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
There you go.
Progresso is the yellow area in the middle.
Yeah, but you're
Say
mixing
what is the
apples and
boundary?
oranges here. I know where Progresso is, but what street?
It's 7th, I think. It's 7th. 7th Ave, right, Commissioner Glassman?
It's
9th.
9th.
9th is the western boundary?
Yes.
So
Where's
9th is the western boundary.
Where's the end? In the northern piece now, which sits
Power
in-
line.
Is it still 9th going below 6th Street? I'm
No,
sorry.
when
It's
you go
7th.
north-
Right?
When you go north
It's-
of 6th Street,
North
is,
of 6th Street, that's 9th.
right,
But south of 6th Street, it's zigzags.
7th Avenue.
Right, that's what I thought. So this doesn't really interfere. What Commissioner McKenzie is recommending, take away that sliver and let it stay in District 3, okay, above 4th Street.
And then go to the tracks. We're just talking about a park, and a few hundred people. Keep City View. Let them be contiguous, and
Because Regal Trace, this is just 7th Avenue, right? So Regal Trace and City View are east of 7th Avenue, correct?
yes,
Correct.
So
Yes.
if we just took your map 6,
go to 4th Street. To the tracks.
I'm good with that.
Great. Commissioner Glassman, are you good with that? So
I'm looking at map option 6 here. So tell me one more time what we're exactly talking about.
So City View would be District 2.
So that just stays in District 2.
Stays in District 2?
That's the way the map was anyway, right? Yes.
Correct.
Map still had it. It's 199.
This gentleman
Re-
just drew is it would be the change.
Regal Trace
So Regal Trace
Goes
is
to
going to move from
3.
District 2 to District 3.
goes District 3. Correct.
And that allows for more continuous, more contiguity along
To
Sistrunk
Sailboat.
Boulevard
Yes.
for the historic nature of the.
Yes.
And so according to the numbers that we were given by FAU,
So that reduces.
how
the
many
disparity.
how many residents is that? I don't see Regal Trace. Hold on. How many in Regal Trace?
The whole number here, we haven't drawn this one up yet. We did the whole section, but it's going to be less than the
I only,
86.
yeah, I only see the number for Progresso here. I don't see it broken down into Regal Trace.
Right, he doesn't have it broken down, so maybe half of that,
I see 24,
the numbers will work.
2,400 in
It
It's less than
Progresso
what we
Village.
had, and
Huh?
Yeah, the previous
Less.
change was 1486. Taking out the City View townhomes would reduce that number. So, the
So
number,
let me just ask you a question. What's the net gain for District 3 with these changes that you're talking about right now?
the net gain is going to be somewhere around 1,000 people, plus or minus.
Right.
So that brings District 3 to 47,750.
Again, we'd run.
That's
we'd run the analysis.
4,000, that's 4,000 more than District 2, just so you all know. I will, you guys, I just object to this. I'll vote no on that map. I don't want to split Progresso Village. I thought that we all decided we didn't want to split neighborhoods. So I can't see how you can enlarge District 3 to 4,000 more people than District 2. That doesn't make any sense to me, and that's what will happen now. That's too much of a disparity, besides splitting the neighborhood.
All right, then make a recommendation.
Well, you guys were still having a conversation.
No, I understand.
Well, my recommendation is what it was this afternoon.
What is that?
Map option 6, but take that little area east of Federal Highway for Lake Ridge and make Lake Ridge whole. Because again, my concern is keeping the neighborhoods
So
whole.
is that a motion you're making?
I'll make the motion, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Map 6, and instead of splitting Lake Ridge on map 6, we move, what'd you say, where that little
477 people.
move those 477 people, which again makes it much more of an equal distribution of population for the 4 districts. If you add 400 people to District 2, you'll be at about 44,000. So you'll only be about 2,500 people less than District 3, not 4,000 people less than District 3.
That keeps all the neighborhoods together?
Keeps every single neighborhood whole.
All right, is that a motion?
It's a motion.
Do I hear a second?
It's actually an ordinance, so we'd have to introduce the ordinance with, whoever introduces the ordinance would have to introduce it with that, with whatever map that they're advocating for.
All right, so he's introducing the ordinance, option 6, less the area that he just described, which was the area east of Federal Highway and south of 14th Court.
Well, not less than, adding.
Adding, I'm taking away from District 1 and pushing it back into District 2.
Right, east of Federal Highway, US 1, and south of Northeast 14th Court. Correct. So that's map 6 with that slight amendment.
And that keeps the Galt in District 1.
It keeps
the Harbor Beach and Harbor Inlet in District 4.
keeps everybody where they are, except for District 3 gains Riverland, and District 4 loses Riverland. Everybody else stays put, except, I should say, Poinsettia Heights, but that's in all the maps. Poinsettia Heights moves now to District 1. Everything else stays the same.
I have a new commissioner.
I'm not in agreement with that, but
I know.
That's okay.
Okay, you introduced the ordinance. It doesn't need a second. So okay, what further discussion do we have? If there's no further discussion, we'll just vote on it, up or down.
We need to close the public hearing too.
Move to close public hearing.
Is that that was
It's
a
a public
PH?
hearing.
Okay.
Public hearing.
So let's move to close public hearing, and then the
Moved.
Vice Mayor, is there a second?
second.
Moved and second to close public hearing.
Vice Mayor, Commissioner Moritas,
this is just public hearing, right? Yes.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, the public hearing is now closed. So you've introduced the ordinance of, repeat it again, option 6?
Map 6, with the one change of making Lake Ridge whole by adding east of Federal Highway and north 14th Court. In other words, just that little part on the map that shows it's moving to District 1 will come back and remain in District 2 with the rest of that neighborhood.
Okay.
That's the only change.
Mayor, can I ask a question, just a
Yes,
point
you
of
may.
clarification?
Absolutely, go
If
ahead.
this map doesn't pass, can we introduce another map afterwards?
Yes.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Okay, please call the roll.
An ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, establishing geographical boundaries of the 4 city commission districts so that such districts shall be as approximately equal in population as is practicable pursuant to Section 7.12 of the city charter, providing for severability and an effective date. Commissioner Moritas?
No.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
No.
Vice Mayor Sorensen?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
All right, yes. The ordinance is approved on first reading. Okay, back to the agenda.
Mayor,
Yep.
may I? City manager advised that if there would be any probability of trying to do the public hearing, the second reading before May 1st.
Does
Actually, the
before
clerk has
May
more
1st?
information.
May 3rd, not May 1st. May
Before our
3rd,
next
Before
meeting.
May 3rd.
Before May, I'm free all week.
He just told me May 1st.
May 3rd.
This week? How many days do we need to call the meeting?
Did you have a
So
day
does-
when you want?
So do we have availability next week to have a special meeting?
How about Tuesday, April 26th?
I can join remotely. I'll be at my daughter's graduation from college.
How long are you gonna be there all week?
I'll be there all week, sorry, I have to celebrate and plan.
So she's not available at all. then?
I'm available remotely, and Alan said I can vote remotely.
I don't think the rules allow that unless there's.
If you allow it pursuant to the resolution, you can.
Oh, we can?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're talking
Pursuant
about
to our resolution.
26th?
Tuesday, April 26th. What time works for you, Commissioner Moritas, that day?
I'm free all week. I just won't be here.
Okay.
I'm flexible.
Okay.
I'm.
How about noon on April 26th?
I need to just do it a little. I'm good after 1.
Okay.
I won't be here on the 26th.
What's that?
Okay.
I will not be here on the 26th.
You want another day?
Yeah, the 1st.
The 1st of May?
They want to do it before the 1st, I thought.
Before the 3rd.
We'll do it.
Well, the 1st is a Sunday, so I don't.
I won't be available until the next commission meeting.
Till the 3rd? Okay.
Well, why does the city manager want us to do it before the next city commission meeting?
Because
So
he
he
has to
said-
give the supervisor of election the information as soon as possible.
Right. It's a very tight timeline. There's 90 days that they need to mail out international ballots. And if it's after May 1st, then there's a big crunch for other dates that they have to meet.
All right, all right, so it's just gonna be the three of us then?
So let's do April 26th, 4 p.m.
Well, if it's just the three of us, are you all available this week, like Friday, or no?
I'm not available this Friday.
April 26th, 4 p.m.
Well, on the 26th, Commissioner Moritas, can you, you can't
Yeah,
join
I can
remotely?
She can join and vote.
I can join virtually.
She can join and vote.
She can join remotely?
Pursuant
Yes.
to your resolution, yes. If
Yes.
you all agree to it, yes.
All right, so,
2 o'clock?
Anytime.
April 26th, 2 p.m.
all right.
Is that
the
all
city-
right?
All right, wait, the city manager wants to weigh in. How is he gonna weigh in?
He just did when Greg
Did, yeah.
rejected it.
Yeah.
He just texted me, can I weigh in?
He just weighed in.
He's on Zoom. So city manager, if you'd like to come on, IT?
Can you, Lieutenant O'Hara, can you please,
Safe trip.
Let me see if I can put him from
so it
phone.
doesn't matter to you, Ben, when we meet? Okay, okay. Can we meet later in the day on April 26th?
Yes,
Like about 4 o'clock?
yes.
Well, I have a 3 o'clock appointment, so
What time?
I have a 3 o'clock appointment. That's what, 4 o'clock.
No problem.
All right. The city manager's available. He wants to chime in and just give you some details, context.
Okay.
1 second. City manager?
Hey, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, thanks. I've been listening in on Zoom and
I can't hear him.
provide some context. I did talk to Joe Scott last week, and he is up against some deadlines. There's no penalties. You've asked about that. but he is up against some deadlines to do overseas voting stuff. So he asked if there was any way we could have it by May the 1st.
Well, we just agreed to meet on
We do
April
want the full
26th.
commission to be there to go all the
So
way
do
out
it
to May the
on a
3rd.
Wednesday when I'm here.
What's that?
Sooner.
I'm not here on Tuesday. I
So
come
if you're
back.
willing to do a meeting, I think he would be very appreciative.
I said I would not be here on the
If it were to pass, we'd transmit.
I said I would not be here on the 26th, is what I said.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second.
That's all I said.
Are we set for 4 o'clock on April 26th?
Well, Commissioner McKenzie just said he's available on Thursday.
The 26th is what day?
Tuesday.
I'm available on the 27th.
I thought you said you weren't available the whole week.
On the 26th.
Okay, so you're available on the 27th.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to text
So can
Ben.
we meet at 4 o'clock on the 27th?
Well, Ben doesn't know
That's-
now. He left thinking we were doing on the 26th.
Can you call Ben?
Which you still could do.
Call him. He's going to call him now. If we can do it on the Wednesday, the 27th, that would be better for me.
Did Chris say that's okay, Greg? 27th?
Yes,
Having
Chris.
a little bit of hard time hearing, but Greg, can you tell me what the question is?
The question is April 27th is good,
before
right?
May
As long as it's before May 1st, correct?
Every day that's quicker than May the 3rd is a good day, so the 27th would be perfect.
Okay. He's checking.
On the 27th? I could do 4 o'clock, Mayor, on the 27th.
You're okay at 4 o'clock? Okay.
On the 27th.
4 o'clock on the 27th. Okay.
4 o'clock?
All right. That's when we'll meet. Okay.
Okay, can you set up a Zoom link, please, David? Thank you.
City manager advised that he will let Mr. Scott know,
Yep.
and that's forthcoming.
Correct.
And Mayor, since you've chosen a date and time, if you want to call OSR 1 and do the deferment now with that date specific, then we can defer the second reading to that date.
Okay, so we'll take up OSR 1, second reading, ordinance establishing geographical boundaries, requesting deferment to May 3rd, but that's going to be to April 27th at 4 p.m.
Move to defer till Thursday, April 27th at 4 p.m.
Okay?
Second.
Ordinance has been introduced. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sorensen's not present. Mayor Trentalles?
Yes. OSR 1 is now deferred to April 27th at 4 p.m. here in Commission Chambers. Okay, back to the fun stuff. M1, motion approving event agreements, related road closures on Barrier Island past 10 a.m., a request for music exemptions for the National Senior Games Flame Arrival, and the 2022 National Senior Games Celebration of Athletes. Any
And where did
questions?
you go back to?
That's M1.
Thank you.
Someone like to move the item?
Mayor, I just had one comment on that came up at my pre-agenda
Want to
meeting.
move the item first? Then
Yes, I
we'll have
will.
discussion.
Thank you.
Been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay. Discussion?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Just a note that there is a big concern with this event with the Las Olas Circle. If it's closed north of the bridge and south of the bridge, people are wondering if they're coming over the bridge heading east. How do they get to the garage? And we just have to be really careful. This goes a little bit to what I was saying earlier with the other agenda item. But there was that big concern about the closure of Las Olas Circle because it really does impact a lot of people.
Well, you want to talk with Mr. Thornburg? What's the deal? Are you closing off the Venetian? Are you choking them off?
Well, it's more than just the Venetian because this is calling for Las Olas Circle.
Wasn't that where the Venetian is?
Surrounding, yeah, well, but other people use that area coming over the bridge. And
So the seniors, we have a problem with the seniors here.
So they can, the promoters here, they can speak to that. But as far as the Venetian goes, the Venetian has been contacted and they're aware that the Venetian needs to stay open so people can go get in and out of the Venetian. So the Venetian is taken care of as far as they've been made aware, and we'll make sure that people can get in and out of the Venetian. I understand the challenge with getting to the garage. You know, I guess you can take a left when you come over the bridge, but sometimes that's a little hairy doing that. But
I know if people, but I would also just advise we contact Jackson Tower, Leisure Beach South, all of those buildings there, and then especially some sort of signage, because if folks are going to be driving over the Las Olas Bridge heading east towards the beach for this event, and if Las Olas Circle is closed, people are not going to be able to figure out how to get to the garage.
Okay,
They're going to
I know
have
there's
to
an-
know, they're going to have to be directed to get to the garage.
There's an MOT set up. I don't know if Ari or somebody wants to come up and speak to that, but I know they worked through and had an MOT that was approved through Transportation and Mobility on how that would work, but maybe somebody else can speak to that.
As long as it's clear to people, signage, communication with all the buildings for that day, we should be okay, but I just want to make sure that we do all that.
Why are we closing off Las Olas Circle? I mean, that's a major road. I don't get that.
Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, it seems we had an event that ruined the grass in that promenade park just to the south of the bridge. So now it looks like we're trying to set up staging on the actual roadways as opposed to the grass, which is another issue we're going to have to deal with and fix, because there is really no reason why we can't figure out a way to have mobile stages on that big, expansive grass area.
Which was the whole point of keeping.
I understand, but so because, at least this is my understanding, because of the fact that that's happening, we are closing Las Olas Circle to accommodate that, which doesn't make much sense, but that's what's happening.
Do we need to resurface part of the park to have a hard surface there?
For a stage. Yeah.
Purposely greened it over because we thought it was nicer. But now we need to keep the pavement there, or some, is that what we're recommending?
That's what I would recommend. The whole reason the road's being closed is.
And can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, it's Jay Hall with the National Senior Games.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to meet y'all.
So at some future date, we should bring that up.
Well, I just did bring it up.
Is that still in District 2?
It's still in District 2, yes. Yes, and Mayor, I did find out it's still not too late to register for the National Senior Games, just so you know.
I don't know if I would qualify.
Okay.
Too old.
You'd be surprised how young the age is. It's actually 50. We all can qualify, except for Commissioner Moritas.
No, I qualify.
Okay, but we all qualify. Well, maybe Vice Mayor Sorensen is the only
Does
one who
not
can't
qualify.
qualify.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
I'm fine with moving this. I just wanted to bring those issues to the forefront so we can start working on it.
Mayor, let me, I'm understanding, this is the first I've heard about the stage. We can put the stage on the grass, so I'm not for sure where that may have come from, but we did that for the Winterfest. You know, it may make a little bit of a damage, but it's not nothing that can be, and I don't think this is going to be there as long. I think it's more about the operation of the event itself, and they're going to have a lot of spectators, a lot of participants that are walking. So if they can do that and keep the road open in a safe manner, I would hope they can do that. What I'm saying is we don't need to close the road for the stage, but if they can operate
I would think you don't need to close
without
that road.
needing the road for the participants, we'll figure out a different way of doing it.
So we're closing the road for the participants?
So, sorry, I know there's like a lot of moving.
Ariana, tell us what's going on.
Tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, if we are permitted to put the mobile stage onto the lawn.
But not on
then
the street.
Not if the mobile stage was going on the street because it was indicated that it could not go on the lawn because of damage.
That's what I said.
If the mobile stage is allowed to go on the lawn, then the whole event is really of the parade of athletes. There's 2,500 to 3,000 athletes that have to parade in. There could be either a 1-hour closure of a portion of the road just for them to be able to walk through, and then you wouldn't have to have the full closure.
It's just, I have an aversion to closing off a main road on the beach, especially on a weekend.
Well, it's on a Monday. This is
All right,
on a Monday
okay, all
from
right, you're right, I overlooked
6
that.
o'clock till 9 o'clock, and the parade only takes about an hour, hour and a half. The staging of the athletes needs to be on the promenade area, which it flanks between the bridge and the garage. So all of them, but they do walk into the lawn, so they would need to progress from the staging area north of the bridge onto the street to come into the park.
Okay, but is there any part of the street
Although they
that's
could
closed?
go under the bridge. They could go under the bridge.
But that's part of La Sola Circle.
No, it's not. No, there's a whole walkway that goes under the bridge.
The walkway,
There
correct.
is.
All right. So you don't have
It's
to close off
the
the
stage is the big thing, right?
All right, so if we don't have to close off the street,
Yeah.
okay, so we're good with that then.
Yeah.
So we don't have to, we don't have to put the mobile stage on the street then, correct? Come on,
There's
phone.
the issue of the event organizer having to repair the lawn.
Right, but Phil, are we okay with the stage going on the lawn?
We are. So they
Okay.
would be required if they do some damage, but again, if it's only up there a short period of time, and we haven't got a lot of rain, it's not gonna be an issue.
Okay.
If it's up there and they make some damage, then they are gonna be required to do that, but I wouldn't think it's gonna be a lot of money.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, the item has been moved. Is there a second? I second it. Been moved and seconded. This is M1. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M1 is approved. Thank you. Have a great event. R1, appointment of board and committee members. Please read the names into the record.
Okay, so for the May 3rd resolution, consensus, we have Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, Alexander Coffey, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. We have reappointments, Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, William Condon, nominated by Vice Mayor Sorensen. Cemetery System Board of Trustees, Patricia Zeiler, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Charter Revision Board, Kushla Paulina, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. James Brady, nominated by Vice Mayor Sorensen. Community Appearance Board, Sarah Zubero, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. Education Advisory Board, Michelle Knapp, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Historic Preservation Board, Arthur Marcus, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. David Parker, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Marine Advisory Board, Bob Dennison, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights Redevelopment Board, Lisa Crawford, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Michael Lewin, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. Stefan Liu, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Christopher Murphy, nominated by Vice Mayor Sorensen. And Rhoda Fodderingham, nominated by Commissioner McKenzie. Parks, Rec, and Beaches Advisory Board, Mary Peliquin, nominated by Commissioner Moritas. And Tangerine Moore, nominated by Commissioner McKenzie.
Are there any additional names to be read into the record?
Yeah, I have ones for R1, but I just had a quick question on, well,
Yeah.
I'm going to read those while I figure out the other part. For tonight's resolution, Aviation Advisory Board, John Ratsanas, sorry, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Budget Advisory Board, William Brown, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Central City Redevelopment Advisory Board, Jason Hoffman, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Community Appearance Board, Cabot Edward, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Community Service Boards, Wisme Cias, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Historic Preservation Board, Barbara Lyons, nominated by Vice Mayor Sorensen. Sunrise Key Neighborhood Improvement District, these are Commissioner Glassman's nominees, Cliff Berry, Mark Grant, Raymond Parker, Rick Campillo, and Caldwell Cooper.
To which board?
Sunrise Key.
Sunrise Key.
Sunrise Key. He's always been around.
Yeah, Improvement District.
He lives there. Yeah, he lives there.
They end tonight. And that rounds it out.
Okay, great. So would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached hereto and made a part hereof. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and I want to thank those folks who've agreed to participate in these boards and committees for the time and sacrifice you make in making Fort Lauderdale the great city that it is. R2, resolution appointing an interim city auditor. Commissioner Moritas,
Yes.
would you like to
Introduce
the
it?
resolution?
Let's see.
This is the auditor.
Yes, let me get the wording. Can I just tell you the person, or do I have to actually say the wording correctly?
Exhibit 2, I think it is. Yeah.
Hold on a second. So I'd like to introduce a resolution appointing Pat Riley to serve as our interim auditor effective immediately or
Okay.
tomorrow.
Actually, we have to work out a few things. Since it's a charter officer, we're going to need a contract because they're being hired by you. So they're not an employee of the city in the sense that they don't work for the city manager. So they're not part of the pay plan. So it's going to be by contract as with your other charter officers. So if we could talk about terms, I think earlier you all talked about $100 an hour. Is that what you talked? Yeah. So typically what we do in this temporary position, as we had done with our police chief, for example, in the temporary position, there's no severance, there's no benefits. It's basically the salary. That's kind of the gist of it.
You good with that, Mr. Riley? Okay.
If you agree to those terms, that way we don't have to bring back the contract with you. And as soon as we get the mayor to execute it, he can get started. Otherwise, we could possibly, if you want to see it before, we can bring it back to you. But it'll basically say what I just said, the typical other language that we have in our charter officer contracts.
Could
Nothing
you have
different.
it ready for us by April 27th?
We could, but he wouldn't be able to get started until then. So
That's fine.
if you want to wait till the 27th, I can bring you back the contract. If not, you can execute it before that, Mr. Mayor, and then he can get started before that. So it's up to you.
Well, I hate to sign something that the commission hasn't approved. I guess we've approved all the terms, right?
Yeah, we did. And you're an
'Cause
attorney,
like, right, with my,
Approve it tomorrow.
if I recall correctly, my contract, as well as I believe the city manager's contract, were executed after the fact. Actually, mine was executed
All right,
3 days
okay.
later, so.
I'll come in and sign it.
What about the hiring and firing abilities? Did we,
I think that we've agreed to that.
that we've agreed to allow Mr.
Allow him
Riley
to
to
make
hire and
personnel
fire
changes
as
in conjunction with our head of HR.
Human resource.
Right, ultimately, it would be his decision, but
ultimately his decision.
Right.
he'd have to go through HR anyway, as I have to if I terminate.
Okay.
Yes.
We said so, yeah.
All right, so you can work together as soon as possible?
Yep.
Not wait till the 27th?
Right. As soon as it's ready, I'll sign it.
Actually, Ms. Smith was already on the ball and has a contract almost pretty much done, so.
Sure she does.
Okay.
Great.
She's very on top of things.
Very good.
So,
Very
right,
good.
so we've agreed to the terms, so I'd like to introduce the resolution.
The resolution's been introduced. Please call the roll.
And Alan, is this as amended with the,
Yeah, all those.
As amended, yeah, as amended, fill in the.
thank you. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing Pat Riley to the position of interim city auditor of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, establishing the salary for the interim city auditor and providing an effective date. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. Congratulations and thank you so much, Mr. Riley.
All the best.
Looking
Thank
forward to
you.
working with you. A resolution, this is R3, resolution supporting and endorsing municipal capital projects. I have no one signed up to speak. For Broward County Transportation Surtax funding, these are the ones that relate to our city. Someone like to introduce the resolution? It's been introduced. If there are no questions, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, supporting and endorsing the municipal capital projects identified in Exhibit 1 for Broward County Transportation Surtax funding and providing for severability, rescission of conflicting resolution provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes, can I ask one more question? I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking quick enough. Ben, so I know we're submitting these, but it does not mean that they are approved, because I am speaking at Twin Lakes this week, and I want to make sure that they see the $1 million line item, that it doesn't really mean that it will be ranked and approved, right? They only pick 5 of these? Is that correct?
So the Commissioner Moritas, the process is that we work with the MPO. They do an initial eligibility review to make sure the projects are eligible. We submit the application, we accompany it with a letter of support from the commission, and then the MPO will rank that with all the projects that were submitted countywide. And then it gets submitted to Broward County, where they'll do a further analysis and review, and then they'll make their recommendations to the county commission for award. Depending on how much the number one project costs, depends on how far down the list they'll fund. So the number of projects is unknown at this time.
Okay, so and we get about $1 million a year, possibly, that's kind of the estimate based on,
Based off the conversations we had with the MPO and earlier this year, the capital funds come from a 10% minimum annual guarantee which is around $40 million per year between the 31 municipalities. But again, it doesn't guarantee that each municipality gets a certain
Correct.
percentage. It just depends on the rank of the projects that were submitted and how much those cost.
Okay, so it's a possibility. When can I report back to my neighborhood and let them know? Do we know the timeline? Like, how long will it take for MPO and the county to rank these?
I will double check, but if I recall, I believe that the MPO has to submit their rankings to the county in June.
Okay. So, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, there being none, please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the resolution is approved. R4, a resolution calling for the 2022 special municipal election on November 8th, 2022. Any questions? If not, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
I'll introduce it, but I have a question, Mayor. I just wanted to know, roughly, if we're going to do the math and figure out what it would cost the city if we did all different elections versus having it all on one day if possible. Are we going to have those kinds of discussions, or are we just going to see how it plays out, or?
Well, I think
It's
intuitively, it would cost a lot more to have multiple separate elections.
I know, but what, Alan, do you know, according to the qualifying periods, when we have to have those decisions from either Commissioner McKenzie and Vice Mayor Sorensen to enable us to have 3 elections on one day as opposed to having our own city standalone elections at a much higher cost?
The submission of the actual paper itself would be June 3rd.
June 3rd?
Just 10 days before June 13th, which is the start of the qualifying.
So they would have to submit resignation letters by June 3rd, and then that would enable us to have all 3 elections on November 8th?
Presumably, until that occurs, June 3rd, I don't know, again, with the supervisor of election, we think we'd be okay, June 3rd, but.
That's what I've been told.
If not, then the city has to do just its own standalone elections?
Right.
Okay.
Which would be a disaster.
No one would vote.
Which means that,
Voting would just be, it would be
But
costly.
we would actually end up with 2 because we have time to now do a special election in November for District 1. And if for some reason we can't do the other 2 in November, we'd have a special election. So I think the cost for November would be about, what is it?
The quote for District 1 for the, to be on November 8 is $23,203.
Right. So if you do the 3 districts, you're talking about $70,000. If you go to a standalone election, it's about 3 times that amount because it changes per. So you'd be looking at about
Couple hundred
additional
thousand.
costs. You'd be looking at about 250,000 if you do all 3. Otherwise, it's a little less than that. It would be, I think, slightly above 200,000 if District 1 is in November, and then you have a standalone for 3 and 4.
Yeah, about 210,000.
Thank you.
Okay, the resolution has been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, calling a special municipal election to be held on November 8, 2022, to elect a commissioner from Commission District 1, establishing a qualifying period for the special municipal election and providing for severability, rescission of conflicting resolution provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Moritas?
yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and R4 is approved. Quasi judicial resolution, this is R5, to vacate a portion of a parking easement located at 419 Southeast 2nd Street. Mr. Shine's here for questions. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Moritas, any disclosures?
I don't think I do. Okay, good. Yeah.
Commissioner McKenzie? I have none, and Commissioner Glassman. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes, I'm trying to look at I don't think I have any disclosures, no.
Okay. So, does anyone have any questions with regard to this?
I do have a brief presentation, Mayor, because
Do you really need to do it?
there's a request at the end that needs to happen. I can scoot all the way to the end though.
Yes. That's good.
We're vacating.
Give us the punchline.
Good evening, Mayor. Andrew Shine with Lockery and Chakas, representing the property We're vacating a parking easement. There is a section in the resolution that has two conditions relating to utilities. That has nothing to do with this resolution. I have spoken to DSD and the city attorney's office on proffering to remove this condition and have the resolution effective immediately instead of conditions that don't have anything to do with the application.
Mr. Fajardo, what is that about?
I can jump into it's subsection B. We agree with Mr. Shine. It doesn't necessarily apply in this situation. So if the commission finds that it doesn't apply, that's fine. We have no objection.
Yes, Mayor Anthony Fajardo. It's typical language used in our vacation that basically says that the applicant will have to determine whether or not there are utilities in place, but this isn't a utility easement. It's merely a parking easement, so we don't object to it at all.
Okay. All right, so would someone like to, no one signed up to speak except Mr. Shine. Anyone else wishes to speak on this item? If not, would someone please move to close public hearing?
Moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed on R5. Would someone like to introduce the
Introduce.
resolution? Now, does it have to be as modified?
As amended.
Amended.
Amended. Okay.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, vacating portions of that certain parking easement, being a portion of Parcel A, Crocker Tower, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 142, page 1, and recorded in official plat books 37116, page 843, both of the public records of Broward County, Florida, located north of Southeast 2nd Street, south of East Broward Boulevard, east of Southeast 3rd Avenue, and west of South Federal Highway, all said lands situate, lying, and being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the item is approved. Moving on to R6, quasi judicial resolution to vacate a storm sewer easement located at 2724 Sea Island Drive. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Moritas, do you have any
No,
disclosures?
no disclosure.
Commissioner McKenzie, you
Yes, I do.
have a disclosure?
Mhm.
And what is
With
that?
with the representative of the applicant.
Okay. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
I don't think we met on this, no. Okay. Okay, I have no disclosures to make. So this is a quasi judicial resolution. Nectaria Chekis is signed up to speak, I guess, just for questions only. And any questions? There being none, someone like to move to close public hearing?
So
Moved. Second.
Been moved and
Commissioner
seconded.
Moritas?
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, vacating that certain 6-foot wide storm sewer easement recorded in official records book 797, page 125 of the public records of Broward County, Florida, being a portion of Lot 60, Sea Island Unit 3, according to the plat thereof as recorded in plat book 27, page 19 of the public records of Broward County, Florida, located north of East Los Olas Boulevard, south of Barcelona Drive, west of the Intercoastal Waterway, and east of 7 Isles Drive, all said lands situate, lying, and being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. And that was that was R6. And that's been approved. PH1, public hearing, quasi judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from intense commercial business district to Uptown Urban Village Northeast. Double Mountain Development Ventures. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. I don't have anyone signed up to speak. Do you have any disclosures?
I don't. I have not met with the developer on this one.
Nor have I. Any representative here in the commission chambers? There are none. Commissioner.
This isn't, I'm sorry, Commissioner Moraes, this isn't the hotel?
It's not, It's not, and I know Robert Locklear was working on a parcel right next to it, but it's not his parcel.
Okay,
I think it's across from MPO in that area. Up
thank you. Then I don't have any either.
Yeah.
Commissioner McKenzie?
None.
None, and
I
you
just
have
have
none,
a
and I have
question
none.
for Anthony about this. I do support it. My question is about flex units. So when we approve the Uptown Master Plan, anytime a developer comes in for this type of development, do they need flex units from our citywide pool?
Yes. So when they come back for the actual mixed-use development, if it has a residential component at that time, they'll need to apply for flex units.
Okay, so I know when we came up with the Uptown Master Plan, we were hoping for about 2,000 residential units in that area. How many flex units do we have left in the city of Fort Lauderdale?
I'd have to look it up. I think it's about 1,480, but I'm not sure.
1,480 or 14,000?
1,480, I believe. But I would be more comfortable if you gave me an
Okay,
opportunity.
so
to
it's
check.
it's under 2,000,
I think so.
right? So, I mean, we were hoping to get about 2,000 residential units. I know we have applied for a few of them so far.
Well, what we did was we were going to do a land use amendment for the area that would have added units, and then we stopped that process based on input from the residents and, and talking about how we'd move forward with the Uptown Village ordinance.
So we chose not to do that. The reason why this is important, I just want you all to understand that also. So we have 1,400 left in our city. And how do we get more flex units if we need to?
So you can't get more flex units. Once the flex units are gone, they're gone because they are done through the difference between net and gross acreage. What would have to happen is a land use amendment. And so the city could apply for a land use amendment based on the areas that we have shown in our flex map. Also, individual property owners can apply for small scale and large scale amendments on their own to get flex units for individual projects. Small scale, for instance, it's, I believe, 10 acres or less. It's a county process that we're part of. And according to the county's website, it takes about 9 months to do that.
Okay, so it takes a while. So it is possible to get more. It just takes a long time.
Yes. If you're going to do a land use amendment, you have to do an analysis. You have to show that you have the capacities, water, sewer, traffic, all that. And then that analysis goes with the application, and there is a determination based on what levels of service that we can maintain to include those additional units.
Okay. What, this is kind of overall, and I probably have to see a map of the city. I guess the downtown rack, they don't need to apply for flex units. It's kind of anything. If someone needs flex units, it's something that's commercial, then they need to apply for the flex.
Right. So the downtown rack's a little bit different because there are other pools. For instance, we had what was known as Marina Lofts and now is Raintree Residences, I believe. When that new project got approved, units went back into the old pool. So we still have to put them into different buckets. But for the intents and purposes of this conversation, those units are allocated in a different manner. So if we go back to those units, you'll see it through a different process. If they are flex units, then they come through a separate process. Some of them are not administrative. Some of them are approved at the DRC level with a call up to the city commission. Some of them have to come before you to actually be allocated.
Okay. So I just want us all to remember that like 1,400 though, as we move forward, because some projects may come to us and ask for a lot of flex units, and we have to realize that there are other areas that need flex units too. It's almost like our trips on the beach. We're going to start kind of competing for these flex units now at the end,
Well,
or as they get close, unless we ask for more.
and don't forget, there's also what is commonly referred to as the Geller Amendment, which was supportive of affordable housing. So under that current amendment, you can come in and request basically units that would be given to you for market rate based on a ratio of how many affordable rate units you include in the project. So there is a current path forward to get additional units, which is much faster than doing a land use amendment, but that's up to the applicant.
And that's for affordable housing, and we already have some incentives in Uptown anyways for some additional density and height if they come in with affordable.
We do, and there may be an overlap with the incentives that we have in those allocation of units through that program. So it's possible if this mixed-use development comes in and was going to do affordable housing anyway, they could do it through that rather than
Okay, so
dipping into some of
they
our
wouldn't
pools.
pull from our flex units and they could get additional height, so that's a possible benefit.
Possibly. We'd have to analyze it once we got the plan, and we don't have it yet.
Okay, if a development, let's say like the Galleria, let's say they have property by right, they're allowed to build units on that, they don't need to apply for flex units if they're allowed to by right.
That's correct. So there's a portion of the Galleria site that's RMH 60, and so they're allowed 60 dwelling units per acre. It is on the southwest portion of the site.
Okay.
The rest of it, though, is commercial, and they would have to apply for flex units.
Even the parcel next to the Corinthian is commercial? The portion to the east, the empty
believe
lot,
it is. I think the only portion I'd have to
is
look
the
at the map.
southwest corner?
It's definitely not the majority of the site. It's only a small portion of the site. Now, they do have the option of the same options I just mentioned, either do a land use amendment. That site is less than 10 acres. It should be less than 10 acres. So they could go through that process, or they could dip into the flex pool for what we have left, and any remaining, they could use a land use amendment or some combination.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good to know, because if it's not zoned for residential, they have to go through the land use amendment process. And by the time that that's done, we don't know how many units are going to be available, correct?
It is a lengthy process. I wouldn't say that you wouldn't get units, but you're right. You would have to determine, it wouldn't be determined until they were granted by the county.
Okay.
And then it may wipe out our entire pool for the whole city, though, is what I'm saying. And I know have incentivized Uptown, and we've already had a lot of people kind of apply so far, and we have a few more projects in the works. So we just have to think about that as.
Yeah. And we do have projects that have been approved that aren't moving forward through building permitting, so those units are being held.
They're being held, the flex units are being held?
Yeah, because they were granted entitlements, but they haven't supplied to building permitting to actually construct.
Okay, so maybe that's, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions?
Thank
All right,
you.
there being none, I think we have to close public hearing. So someone like to move to close public hearing?
Moved.
Second,
Okay, moved and seconded.
Commissioner Moritas?
yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed on PH1. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from B3 Heavy Commercial Light Industrial Business District to Uptown Urban Village Northeast District, all of Parcel A Charter Plat according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 92, page 23 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Interstate 95, north of East Cypress Creek Road, east of North Andrews Avenue, and south of West McNabb Road, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and PH1 is now approved. PH2, public hearing and adoption of resolution approving the Parks, Recreation, and Beaches Advisory Board's recommendation requesting deferral to May 3rd. Ms. Labrie, are you aware of that? We're deferring this to May 3rd. Okay. Do I hear a motion to defer?
I have one question about that. We've already deferred it once, and I know we are ready to go with the pickleballs at George English Park, the pickleball courts. Can we just pull that out and approve it? Because I already kind of said okay a long
Well,
time
one more
ago.
meeting.
What?
One more meeting.
You're here till November
Why are we
7th. We'll
deferring-
get it done by then.
Yeah, well, why do we keep deferring it? I mean,
Well,
my project's ready to go. Who's holding this up?
the staff's not ready, I guess.
Staff's not ready? It's,
Phil can answer that.
I think Ms. Labrie is holding
our pickleball people are chomping. Okay,
So I think the
we're on
Commissioner
the same page.
Moritas's point, Alan, we can pull that one off if she wants to, correct? Is that,
Well, that was the reason we deferred last time, because we were going to pull projects apart. We were
okay.
bring it as one item.
Okay, I thought it was written so it could be
That's
pulled.
why we deferred it the last time, because
Okay.
we went through this conversation with it. We were going to move it forward with some and not others, and then we decided to. I don't know why staff needs more time. I think it was, I don't remember the reason.
So I can, so tonight's meeting is not ready. We weren't able to get together with the city manager to talk about the funding sources prior to his needing to leave for his vacation time. So, but we did meet late and had some ideas, but we just aren't ready to make those recommendations yet to the commission. But we'll be ready on the 3rd for sure.
Okay, well, all right, well, I can wait. I'll be ready.
Okay.
When are we going to start building the pickleball courts? Can we do it before November 8th? I can have a groundbreaking.
As soon as we are able to award the contract, then we'll set a time to
Have a
set for them to do
groundbreaking
it.
party.
But
All
we
right.
should hopefully get it done.
Don't worry, we'll invite you no
Let's
matter.
schedule that. I don't think, I'm not so sure.
We'll invite you
I
for
wanna
the ribbon
be-
cutting.
Okay. I have lots of groundbreaking.
Bree, do you want to comment on this?
I do. Thank you, Mayor. I'm just James Labrie, resident of Fort Lauderdale, Poinsettia Heights neighborhood. I'm assuming that this is regard to the Joint Use Parks program. And it's been a month, and we still don't have a resolution yet. So I'm with Commissioner Marias. Why is it taking so long? We just heard from the Parks Director explain. But I think, here's again an example, in my opinion, where the city could be doing a better job. Let's get it done. Thank you.
May 3rd. And I may be
Get it
representing
done.
you by then.
It's
I'll
the
make sure.
Can-Do Commission.
Yes.
Could do. Okay.
I'll come to your ribbon cutting. Is that the park and the
All
school?
right, did we vote on this?
Sunrise Middle.
Yes, I'm going to bring you turf.
Please call the roll. Has it been introduced?
No, just need a first and a second.
I'm sorry?
Need a first and a second to defer deferral.
All right, so someone like to introduce the resolution? It's been introduced.
Move to defer to.
Defer.
Move to defer
To defer.
to May 3rd.
Oh, so it's a motion to defer. I'm
Move to
sorry.
defer to May 3rd.
Okay, sorry.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
May 2nd?
No, it's been
Seconding it.
seconded.
Oh, May 3rd.
Seconding May 3rd.
Okay,
Seconding your motion.
okay. Who's on first?
Where's my turf?
Please call the roll
Commissioner Moritas,
before they
Yes.
forget.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie. Yes. Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and it's been deferred now to May 3rd. PH3 we've already done, OSR 1 we've already done, OSR 2 second reading, ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida to reflect the change of the Department of Sustainable Development's name to Development
recognize.
Services Department
That's really not the motion, though.
and amending the pay plan. Oh, that's what's really going on.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
1 second. So let someone introduce the ordinance.
Introduce.
Okay, now you can ask.
We're changing the name, right, of the place.
I think we
Maybe
did
I
that
missed-
already.
Excuse me?
Didn't we do that a while ago?
Well, 10 years ago, it was changed to DSD, yes.
I guess what's circulating in my head is I frequent that building a lot. There used to be a sign on the outside of the building that said Greg Bruton like building that we.
Yeah.
That sign's not there anymore. Is this why we're changing? I mean, can someone
I
help
think
me?
he took it with him when he retired. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
It's now at the Fort Lauderdale Historical Society.
That's where it is?
No.
No.
No, seriously, it's not there anymore.
Glass it'll
No,
see.
it's going to be reinstalled. We took down the sign so that we could put up the new sign, and we're going to have his name on a plaque by the front. It'll still be prominent. You'll still see it.
So what you just said to me, you took it down, you're gonna put it back up.
Correct.
Yes, because the name change on the building has to change. So we got new channel letters based on that name change, and everything's being removed. So we're also painting the building. There's some upgrades that are going to the outside of the building. That's why it was taken down. It will be reinstalled.
The same thing that was up is gonna go back up there.
I don't think it looks exactly the same.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I can get you the specs on the sign.
But it's gonna be like letters,
Yes.
not a plaque.
Uh,
I'm just asking.
yeah, I think it's going to be a plaque. I'll have to check.
Okay.
It'll
I'll
be
send it-
cheaper next
I'll
time
send
they
it to
change the
everybody.
name again.
We'll put your name on the building.
Yes.
It's still the Greg Bruton Center.
Much smaller font.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you finished?
I'm done.
Okay. So the ordinance has been introduced. If there are no further questions, please call the roll.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, reflect the change of the Department of Sustainable Development's name to Development Services Department and amending the classification table of the pay plan of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida to revise the title of two job classifications accordingly and providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yeah.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OSR 2 is now approved on second reading. OSR 3, second reading, an ordinance amending Division 2 water safety rules. Limits on speed limits, so forth and so on. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
Any questions regarding OSR 3? No one signed up to speak. Please call the roll.
An ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Division 2 Water Safety Rules of Article 5 Boats and Waterways of Chapter 8 Boats, Docks, Slips, etc., Section 8-166 Speed Limits and Waterways of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida to rezone a portion of the Seminole River Canal from a slow-speed minimum wake area to an idle speed no wake area and providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and an effective date. Commissioner Moritas?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and OSR 3 is now approved on second reading. Is there any further business of the commission?
No.
There being none, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor.